Shimmer is a new addition to the set of plugins in N-Track Studio 10. And the name says it all. It gives such a wonderful shimmering sound that it's hard to describe in just words. So let's jump straight into some examples and listen to it. As we can hear, Shimmer brings a certain otherworldliness to audio and instruments. We can customize the various effect parameters and layer ethereal sounding textures in parallel with the original input. And we can even transform sounds into completely new atmospheres. So let's get going with Shimmer. Select Add Effects, N-Track, and then Shimmer. Similarly on mobile, tap the plus button, choose N-Track, and scroll down to Shimmer. We can see that the plugin has 3 tabs: Shimmer, Diffusion, and Output. Let's now review each of these in detail so we can get full control of the plugin. Shimmer works by adding copies of the input signal that are shifted in pitch and highly reverberated. The plugin parameters allow us to control both the pitch shifting and then the reverberation. In the Shimmer tab, we can control the pitch shift of the input. If we momentarily switch to the Diffusion tab and take all the settings down to 0, we can hear the input and the pitch shift only. Returning to the Shimmer tab and clicking on the shift drop-down, we can now set the shift of the pitch to match standard musical intervals. The oct, meaning octave shifts, are particularly effective, and when they're selected, they add a certain depth to the sound through the additional octave layers. The amount knob controls the loudness of the pitch-shifted signal in relation to the input. We can choose between different pitch shifting types, and the default pitch shift works great on most tracks. Phased adds a phasing effect to the pitch-shifted signal. With melodic, you can sometimes get an even smoother sound than with default. But note that when you use melodic, it's heavier on the CPU. Percussive works really well on percussion and drum tracks, but even with the synth, it sounds more punchy. And finally, we've got vocal. This shifts the pitch while preserving the formant, so you can avoid the chipmunk effect on vocal tracks. So let's switch to the Diffusion tab, and if we start cranking up the size value, we can hear that lovely big reverb enriching the pitch-shifted input. We can then control the color of the sound. So if we move the dial to brighter, we apply a stronger cut of the lower frequencies with a high-pass filter. If we move the knob towards the darker setting, we change the sound by removing more of the high frequency range, applying a low-pass filter. Let's further manipulate the sound by augmenting the decay value. If we reduce diffusion size back to 0, we can hear exactly how the decay disperses and diffuses the sound. The damping knob sets how much each virtual reflection subtracts energy from the signal. Damping affects the higher frequencies more than the low ones. Let's bring that size value back up and hear all the parameters in action. Let's select the Output tab. The dry value here controls the volume of the unprocessed input signal. Wet sets the level of the processed signal. So as we play with the wet and dry values here, they're really the main mechanisms to adjust how much shimmer you want to add to the track. In the Output tab, we can further shape our sound using the mod depth and mod rate settings. These control the vibrato module on the output of the reverberated signal. So a great way of just jumping right in with Shimmer is to scroll through and select from the effect presets, which can be found here in the upper toolbar. Let's listen to some. Presets provide a useful starting point, but they might not be exactly right for your sound straight out of the box. So we'd always recommend to choose a preset that has kind of the sound that you want, and then modify and play with the settings to be able to arrive at exactly the sound that you want. Shimmer can be put to work with so many sounds. Really cranking up the knobs works great with monophonic inputs. And polyphonic and chordal textures tend to benefit from a slightly lighter touch. Percussion can also be warped with Shimmer in really interesting ways. Let's hear an example. Let's bring the size down to 0 on the Diffusion tab. Then from the Shimmer tab, we'll change the type to percussive and the shift to -1 plus 1 octave. And then add decay. We can then play with the dampening and the color values to create and automate sound design heavy type drum lines. Let's also increase the mod depth and the mod rate. And we'll remove the input source by bringing the dry knob down to -infinity. Back in the Shimmer tab, let's hear how the sound changes when we bring the amount down to 0 and increase the amount. And we can continue to shape the sound by changing the shift. So let's hear the original drum loop without Shimmer and with all the manipulation. As I hope you can hear in the many examples in this video, Shimmer creates absolutely beautiful cinematic soundscapes from your inputs. Do let us know in the comments how it's working for you. Also, make sure you check out the other new effects in N-Track Studio, as well as our version 10 videos, which you can watch here. Enjoy making music with N-Track Studio 10, and see you guys on the next video.